Welcome to another episode of the Private Practice Podcast. Yes, I'm in the car. Of course, I'm in the car. This is one of my very favourite places to be. Don't you just love driving? Or is it just me? I think, I have a lot of, I talk about masculine, feminine energy, and it underpins a lot of the work that I do or informs a lot of the work that I do. And one of the things about having dominant masculine energy is you want to be moving all the time, and it's like forward moving energy and things like that. And that's definitely me. Okay, I hope that you're having a really great week. And yeah, it's Friday. As you know, I don't work on Fridays. I have the day off. And I love to go for a long drive, get inspired just by being out. I really, 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 really love it so much. Out in the country, just driving around. It is so much fun. Anyway, I've just been down the coast to Phillip Island, and there's a little church there. I am not religious. I have learned a lot about many different religions and faiths and, spirituality and stuff like that. But I've kind of like made my own thing, and it works for me. I feel like it's similar to in therapy, how when you're learning and you're studying, you're like, oh, this is CBT, oh, this is ACT, oh, this is, whatever it is, the thing that you're learning. And then when you first start your private practice, you're using them. And as you see more and more clients and you feel more and more at ease and your confidence starts to grow and things like that, don't you find that you start dipping in and out of different approaches and modalities, and you end up sort of creating, it's like a customized pick and mix for each client. I think even in practice momentum, I don't think I work with two clients in the exact same way. Some of them really love the masculine and feminine, and so they love it when I can share concepts and perspectives or tools and things like that from that paradigm. Others, they're in their masculine and they really want to know all the tactical type things, and others are in the feminine and they're more about the connection and the rapport and the trust and the surrender. And it's just like you just and yeah, some of them want evidence-based, some want the woo, some want this, some want that. But do you know what I mean? Like how you customize how you work. Yeah. Anyway, total sidetrack. But yeah, I'm just out and about, and there's this little church there, and I love to go down there on a Friday, and I just sit there, and I've always had the church to myself. It's so tiny. It's a tiny, whiny little one. It's on the main street, if you're familiar with Phillip Island. It's white. They're really good loos at the centre directly opposite. So, yeah, that's a good tip for you. They're brand new, and they're part of that centre, and they're always clean and nice. So, yeah, there's that. And I just go down there and basically I just sit. They've got like these little red, they're so cute, these little red sort of veloury chairs, and the light streams in and the stained glass, and I just sit there and I close my eyes and I put my arms facing the ceiling, because I understand that's like how you receive. So, my hands are on my lap, and yeah, I just close my eyes, and it's just like I just talk to them in my mind. I'm just calling in like Gabe and my pa, and like all the people who love me and all the supportive energies and things like that. And I always just again, just in my mind, I'm like, thank you so much for all the abundance that I have received. Thank you so much for all the insight and wisdom that I've been able to exchange with clients, because just as much as I share it with them, I learn it from them. And, that helps me grow and be even better at what I do, more effective at what I do, and help more women. And, thank you for showing me what's needed right now. And, I do all of that. And I always come away from it. It only takes me like 10 minutes or so, but I just come away from it feeling so good. And yes, I could do it at home, but it's just become a little Friday ritual. It's like I leave home, I drive straight down there, which is an hour and a half. And once I've done that, then I go over to Corumburra, which is in the country. And I love Corumburra. And I'm really enjoying spending time at Corumburra lately because I haven't been for such a long time. But I went there 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I saw there are new shops. It looks like maybe it's becoming gentrified. So yeah, I want to go and check out the new shops, but also I'm quite hungry and I want to go and sit down and eat something, and I want to go and journal and stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of why there's no jingle today, and there won't be a jingle on the other side either. But um, in today's episode, I just felt inspired to talk with you about um, yeah, doing hard things in private practice. Okay. And this has come up because, yes, in Practice Momentum, while it's entirely just private coaching with me, it's like entirely one to one. The women in there were saying when we first started earlier in the year, will there be opportunities to meet anybody else? And so I ended up putting together a little group chat. So they've got this group chat going now, and yeah, I love it, right? I love seeing the conversations that are going on in there and stuff like that. But anyway, they were talking about, you know, doing hard things in private practice. And it got me reflecting too on doing hard things, or maybe they don't even have to be hard, maybe just like feels hard or it feels heavy, and then you feel like, oh, just I really don't want to do it, and then you kind of know that you should, but you deprioritize it. You know what I'm talking about, like those things. Like we've all had those days, right, where it's like your brain is saying to you, you should go and write that blog, you should go and post on your socials today, but there's like part of you is like, I don't want to though. I'm too tired. Can't I just do something else? I'd rather do something else. I'd rather go to the dentist. Can't the clients just come? Like, I'm really good at what I do. I just thought that they would come, and it's not fair. And, we have those moments. And it got me thinking about me and when I have those moments too. And I was resisting something this week. I was resisting reconciling. Oh, not that you have to reconcile anything. In Henry, right, which is the bookkeeping, they're bookkeepers and accountants. And anyway, it's all online for sole traders, all of this. But anyway, I've got a account with them, and every time an expense comes off my little Henry card, which is like the business, I have to go in and I have to upload a receipt and just say, like, categorize the expense. And anyway, it never takes me very long to do. And when you go into Henry and you see all the things that need to be sort of categorized, they're in red, right? It's a pale red, which I really appreciate because it feels a lot less aggressive. But anyway, and like, yeah, I'd accidentally clicked on my expenses when I was in Henry earlier in the week, writing up an invoice for someone, right? They had some funding approved for a business grant. I think I might have mentioned this to you before. Anyway, so it was great. And I'm very thankful she chose me to help her with the business and everything, and I cannot wait to start working with her. But anyway, I had to write up the invoice and send it off. And while I was in Henry, I accidentally clicked on expenses instead of something else. And I saw a screen full of like red, and I was like, oh no. And I just thought, I can't, because my energy was being pulled in a million different directions. I had all that stuff going on with and still is, with, I guess, the national standards, and and not only trying to advocate, not only trying to show up in a way I could be proud of, but that also my clients could be proud of, because I've got clients who have tertiary qualifications in counsellors. I've got clients who have vocational qualifications in counsellors. I've got clients who aren't counsellors, they're psychologists, or they're social workers, or they're play therapists, and they're OTs, and they're speechies, and all the things. So I want to make sure that, everything I'm putting out there is something that they can all feel like I'm being a good leader here. And also things I don't put out because believe you me, there's been plenty of times where I've like wanted to hit back and I haven't because I've got this new practice now. My new strategy is to pause. So anyway, so my energy's been pulled in lots of different directions. And then when I saw all these red things come up in Henry, I was like, nope, you can wait. And then what happened was yesterday I was journaling. So I'm trying really hard to be more disciplined in terms of the journaling because it really does work for me in terms of unlocking my next steps. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but I've got a process and it just works for me. So I was like, I realized that when I was sitting down at my computer, I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't tracked the activities and the tasks that I've been doing in the business for the last 4 days on my 90-day tracker, right? Remember how, like I set this goal for myself to, receive 100K in 90 days through the business and create a reliable process for doing that. And so the first step was to document everything that I'm doing day to day. And then after the 90 days, see where I'm at financially, share that with you. Then reflect on it and look at, okay, what worked, what didn't, what was happening with my time here, all that kind of stuff, refine it, improve it, do it again for the next 90 days. So this is what's going on. I realized I hadn't tracked my activities for 4 days. So I was like, oh, yikes, I better do that. So I was like racking my brains thinking, Monday feels so long ago. What did I do on Monday? And I was like, oh, I had the call for the Diploma Counsellor Society, and that was really cool. And that went for, I don't know, 90 minutes or, 2 hours, however long it went for. And I thought, oh, yeah. And I spoke to somebody on Monday as well. Like somebody had a strategy call with me, and that went really well. And what else did I do on Monday? And then I was looking at my Google Calendar for prompts, and I was like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And then I just started remembering, oh my gosh, like nearly this whole week has been spent putting out little fires everywhere with stuff that's been going on with the standards. Lots of emails from very concerned people that, of course, needed care and needed support and needed me to be present. So it was stuff that I wouldn't normally be doing, but it was there. And then, um, you know, commenting in online communities and things like that, and being tagged in a lot of things, and having to be discerning about what have I got the mental and emotional bandwidth to respond to, what's going to be helpful, what's not, and some people were just so not nice, really went down like personally attacking people and stuff, and then I was like, no, I'm out, I'm not doing that. And it's just a distraction from what's going on anyway. All this kind of stuff. Anyway, so I realized that, and it was actually really helpful to realize it because I saw that I hadn't been doing anything intentionally to grow my audience, and I hadn't been doing anything intentionally to hit this 100K revenue goal that I've got. And I've only got 30 days left, right? So that was a big wake-up call. And then thankfully my higher self stepped in and she was like, yes and no. Like, in terms of not doing anything to build your audience, probably what's happened is, although you didn't create tasks, you didn't identify a task that you could do that would build the audience. It's kind of happened perhaps unintentionally that, people have found me as a result of how I've been showing up. And that's what I was telling you the other day about, like, you've got to stand for stuff. You've got to have a point of view. There are going to be people that leave your circle. That's okay. There are going to be people that come in. That's okay. It's flow. And that's what we want. We want stuff that flows. You've got to be okay with the outgoing water of the tide so that the new fresh water can be incoming, right? Anyway, so I was thankful that my higher self shared that with me, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But nonetheless, I haven't been doing anything to, let people know about momentum, for example, and stuff like that. And so I was like, gosh, I've really dropped the ball here, and yeah. And then I journaled, because I reminded myself, instead of just sitting there feeling overwhelmed, staring at a screen of things that I hadn't done, or things were just absent from my list of things that I should have done, and feeling overwhelmed by the not knowing where to start. It's like everything feels urgent. It's like everything is, as I was saying to you recently in a podcast episode, it's like, the Eisenhower matrix doesn't work for me because of that ADDC. Like, the Eisenhower matrix, it is like a, a box, a square, and it's got four squares in it, right? Imagine a addition sign in the middle, and the bottom left is low importance, low urgency, and then opposite that diagonal is high importance, high urgency, and you fill out the rest yourself, right? But anyway, I put everything in high urgency, high important, because that's how it feels. So anyway, to get out of the overwhelm, I reminded myself, hey, take a moment, get your journal. You're just going to journal on this. Ask yourself what the right next step is, what you need to do, get the answer, get the clarity. So that's what I did. I cleared space on my desk, and I gave Buddy a toy so that he was nice and distracted. And I just wrote, just gave myself, some space to write. And within seconds of starting, I already knew what I needed to do. And one of the things was I needed to track my numbers, which is something I'm always telling the women in Momentum. I'm like, track your numbers, because we want to make data-driven decisions, right? I can't help them if I don't know what's going on. And, so I was like, okay, I've got to do that. So then anyway, I looked at all the things that came through from the journaling of the things that I needed to do. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to make myself a little list now. So I put them in a list, and I just started ticking off the ones that were easiest to do first. And I noticed that the Henry stuff was like right down the bottom of my list. Like, I really didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it. And so I procrastinated, and I made sure I did everything else first. And then yesterday, I looked at my list, and there was only one thing that wasn't ticked off. And um, yeah, if you've got ADD, you'll know what I mean when I say, like, you can't leave things unfinished, right? You just can't. It doesn't happen. You don't leave things unfinished. Well, I mean, you have ideas and maybe you start working on them, but that's a little bit different to what I'm talking about now, right? So anyway, I was like, fine, I'll just do it. And I went into Henry, and I hadn't even logged in. You've got to use an authenticator app as part of their security. So you get like this different code every time you log in. And I was just like, this feels hard. I don't want to do it. And anyway, I clicked out, and I just started mucking around in Canva, which is, I know, like, do you do that too? Like, it's just my default. I started mucking around in Canva, and I was just deluding myself, thinking that I was going to spend time, like making some resources or something like that. I totally wasn't. I knew that I was avoiding doing the Henry stuff. And then, I thought to myself, okay, Buddy needs to have a break. He needs to go outside, have a run round. So I took him out. We had a little bit of a play outside. We came in, we had some lunch, and then we sat down, we watched some TV. I really enjoy watching The Office when I'm at work, just because, like, I can watch 10 or 15 minutes, lift my mood a little bit, get some clarity, get out of my own way a bit, turn it off. There's a TV in my study and a couch. Turn it off and then get back to work, right? So it's just a nice little break in the day. And anyway, I sat down and I saw my journal was there. And then I thought to myself, well, that was so helpful this morning when I was journaling. It was so helpful yesterday and the day before. Maybe I just need to journal on this. So I started journaling on why I was avoiding doing my Henry stuff. And the solution that came out of it for me was to remember, like, I guess why I had the goal and why I had the business, and why I do the things that I do, and all of that kind of stuff, and bringing it back to that. And with that sort of deeper reflection, I realized that one of the reasons I don't work for a group private practice and I do have my own business and I, all of that is because I really value, you might call it freedom, but I think that word has just been thrown around so much it's kind of lost its meaning. When I think about freedom, for me, it's like spaciousness. And that spaciousness just means choice. It means me being able to be in control, be in charge, direct things. So, anyway, I was thinking to myself, well, if I do if I go and like categorize my expenses and stuff, it's probably going to take me about, this is how ridiculous it is. It's probably going to take me 10 or 15 minutes. But you know what I mean? Like the resistance was like, it's going to take forever. But actually, and then when I started to think, okay, well, how is doing that going to give me, you know, a better sense of spaciousness? How's it going to give me more choice? How's it going to give me more freedom? And for me, those things at the moment look like I don't want to be locked into anything in my diary. I do not want to have anything at all in my diary pretty much ever. Like that would just be heaven for me. But when I say that, um, I don't want it to take away from the things that I do have in my diary because I choose the things that I've got, right? And if I do want to do them, I wouldn't do them. But for example, one of the things, like every month we have like a mastermind with a coffee catch up as momentum, right? In momentum. So again, it's a one-to-one private coaching program, but where anybody's feeling isolated and they want to meet other people and stuff like that, it makes sense to connect them with my other private clients who are also working with me in the same container. So they've got the choice, if they want to, of coming along to that. And I look at that in my calendar and I never feel sick about it. I never feel dread. I get excited because I think, oh, who's going to turn up this time? What are we going to be talking about this time? Do you know what I mean? It's like a connection point, and I really, 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 really love that. And they do too. So anyway, it's not talking about things like that. It's talking about like things I don't want to do that I feel trapped by, locked in by, stuff like that. So I want all this spaciousness. And the other thing, so I want spaciousness and choice over my diary, choice over the hours that I work, how I spend that time, what I'm doing, who I'm spending it with. Do you know what I mean? So that is something that is so important to me. And then the business is a vehicle for me being able to have spaciousness in my life. And what that looks like in terms of having choice or having freedom or being able to, like, I don't know, make decisions for myself and, direct my day, direct my week, direct my month, all that. Um, it looks like, yeah, me being able to do all of that. And one of the things I'm working on now is I've decided that I'm going to go and get myself a home, right? You know the story, you can listen to. I'm not going to like tell it again, but yeah. So I want a home that's mine where I can just be how I want, play the music, turn on I really love, when I say play the music, I mean, I really love Gregorian chants. I love it. I, one of my diplomas, it was on spiritual coaching and it was based on shamanism. And I really, 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 really value drumming. I love the sound of shamanic drumming. I love it. I love the sound, and again, maybe it's the autism and the repetition and stuff like that, but for me, it's very soothing, very calming to hear boom, 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 boom. Like, I love that. I love it. I know it drives some people bonkers, but I love it. And I really want to have speakers that go throughout the house. I want them to be very discreet, whether they're in the ceiling or whether they're behind furniture, maybe they're in the floor. I don't know. But I want to be able to like push a button and have shamanic drumming music, for example, just gently going in the background. I would love that. I cannot do that where I live right now. I would love to have a beautiful, expansive, huge, luxurious, most luxurious you could ever imagine bathroom, ensuite, right? I want that. I want that. I can't have that where I am now. I really, 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 really want to be able to have clients over to my house so we can sit together, maybe in my study, but most likely in my kitchen, spreading our stuff out. I can be cooking for them. I can make them special tea. I can do all those kinds of things, and we can have, conversations about their work, and they can have insights, and we can have the coaching conversations while I am preparing a meal for them. I would love to do that and just have it be, we're both just so casual, my client and I, in my kitchen, doing the work, right? It's still, they're still getting a shift, they're still getting a transformation, but we're together just being women, and it just feels so good. I cannot do that where I live now. So for me, those things are so important, and I want them. And when I was able to connect into the energy of the spaciousness that the business can provide for me, then all of a sudden it became a priority to do the Henry reconciliations. And do you know what? As I said, it probably didn't even take 10 minutes. Not even. And you know what? The other thing too, it's a real dopamine hit, because when the expense is waiting to be categorized, as I've told you, it's in pale red, but then once you've categorized it and it gets approved and everything, it turns into green, and it's just like such a nice feeling. And as I was going through, so when when it's waiting, it's red. When it's approved, it's green. And when you've like submitted it for approval, it's like pale blue. And anyway, so I was just going through, I was smashing it out because it didn't take long. I knew where everything was. So I was just like, boom, 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 getting it all done. And I would come back into the main screen to get the next expense to categorize, and I would see ones that had been submitted, just a few minutes ago, were already starting to turn green. And it just was like, yes, yes, yes. And so every time I did that, it's like, that's a step closer to the house, baby. Yes, a step closer to, this embodiment of the version of you that's doing this, that has these things, that has that spaciousness, that has that freedom, and like you're totally on the right track. And it was such a moment of realizing that, when you connect stuff to your values, like everything shifts energetically. And I really believe that, strategy alone is not enough. Mindset alone is not enough. I think that, and energy alone is not enough, right? You've got to have all three things working together in order for you to create the success that you want. So anyway, then I'm like in this really great energy, and I'm like, okay, now I need to do this strategy. Let me look at that. So I went into my little spreadsheet where I'm tracking, my activities for the 90 days to make this 100K. So I went in there and I started thinking, okay, what have I done today that counts towards calling in this? And I was like, well, I sent the invoice. Well, I did the Henry and I tracked the numbers. Well, I did some inner work today. I got into service. I helped some people today. I published a reel today. I published a story today with a link to my website wellness audits, right? Stuff like that. And it all just got so easy. And that's when I realized that, okay, now what do I need to do for the mindset? And I realized, no, the mindset is already there, because I activated, like I alchemized that fear, I alchemized that avoidance, I alchemized that resistance. And so, the spirit was there, the strategy was there, the mindset was there, and it all felt so good. It all felt so good. And I want to share that with you because, it's such a lesson. And get this, after this all happened yesterday, which of course I didn't tell anybody about, I'm just there by myself, like doing this stuff. Today, somebody in one of the communities was saying, oh my gosh, like, I just really want to avoid doing this in my business. And then other people were like, yeah, me too. And then somebody else was like, why don't you try this? And then I thought, maybe I should share my story. And so I did, but I kind of shared it in a different way to what happened for me yesterday, because I didn't want to make it like all about me. I wanted to make it, I guess, not all about me. So anyway, I shared a story of like when I got Buddy, and Buddy is my 2-year-old Cavalier Cross Maltese, and he was sent to me, I choose to believe, by my previous dog Gabe, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge, who I asked to send the next dog, right? So anyway, this is the story of Buddy. And when I got him, I was like totally obsessed, totally in love. All I could think about was Buddy. Everything was Buddy, 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 Buddy. And I was having a problem toilet training, right? Took a little bit longer than it has with other animals that I've had to train Buddy. And there were absolute moments where I would feel like giving up. This is never going to work. Maybe I need to put my dog on Gumtree. I was so frustrated and exhausted. It was like every time I turned around, there was another little surprise for me. And it didn't matter what I did, I was rewarding him when he was going. I was, not telling him off when he had an accident and stuff like that. I was just like, being neutral about it. I never, ever, ever told him off for having an accident. I never made him feel bad. I never shouted at him. But within me, I was like rolling my eyes, feeling like I was a really, bad fur baby mum because I couldn't get this right. I was feeling like, how come, like I was in a Facebook community for new dog owners and stuff like that, and they were all like talking about how they toilet trained they potty trained their pup within 4 weeks and all this, and for me it had been like 6 months. I was like, this is never going to happen for me. And I stopped asking for help because it was just every time I did, it was the same things, and the same advice was coming, and I would try and use the same advice, but it just never worked. And then it would make me feel bad about myself again, and all of this. And I remember one night, it had been just a hard day. It'd been a hard day with looking after my mum, who's aging parent, which is not great with her health. It's getting worse, not better, despite all the things. And I was exhausted. I was so exhausted. And I just fell into bed one night, and then I heard him. And it must have been, I don't know, I'm going to say like between 2 and 3 in the morning. And I heard him was going to the toilet where he shouldn't have been. And I was just crying. I was in bed and I just cried. I just thought, I can't deal with this anymore. And I got up. I couldn't see him anywhere. I didn't know where he was, but I knew I had to get to this accident quickly because it was on the carpet. So I'm in the laundry and I'm getting, towels, buckets, soapy water, the Biozette, all the things, a paper towel, plastic bags, and everything. Exhausted, barefoot, going out into the area where it had happened. And I was just, I felt so mad. I wanted to scream. I didn't, but I was crying. Like, I wasn't like sobbing out loud. I just had tears rolling down my face. And anyway, I was cleaning it up. And anyway, as I was cleaning it up, how you just know when someone's looking at you? I had that feeling. And I looked behind me and it was Buddy. And it was just a little puppy. He was just like 6 months old. Maybe not even. It's just like this, he's not even fully grown, right? He's a little puppy, his little puppy face and his long cavalier ears and his big brown cavalier eyes, And his little head was looking at my hand, and my hand was mopping and cleaning and wiping and doing all of the things, and his little head was sort of moving as my hand was moving back and forth. His little head was moving back and forth in perfect rhythm with my hand, and I could see he was watching what I was doing. And then when he realized I was looking at him, he looked up at me and he put his head on the side. And then I like burst into even, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Then I like even burst into more tears because I just loved him so much. And then I pick him up and I just gave him the biggest hug and the biggest cuddle, and I'm just kissing him on the top of his little head, and I'm kissing, and I'm just telling him how much I love him, and I love him so much, and all of this, and anyway, I don't know how long we were doing that, but I was just like smothering this poor little dog with pats and kisses and love, and just like I couldn't love him anymore. And I had to put him down because I needed to finish, cleaning up. And when I went back to cleaning up, everything had changed, and I realized I am so okay with cleaning this up, because if I didn't have him, I wouldn't be cleaning this up, or vice versa. Like, I wouldn't be cleaning this up if I didn't have Buddy in my life. And it's so worth it to me to take 5 minutes out of my night to do this so that I can have Buddy in my life. And I just felt so thankful in that moment. I just felt so thankful. And so that's what I shared. That's what I shared with the people who were talking about it. And I said, so maybe it's not like really about not wanting to do this thing you got to do. Maybe it's about remembering, like, it's really cool that you're in a position where you even get to do it. Because think about how many women want to start a private practice, but they don't, because they get scared. They get scared that they don't know enough. They get scared it won't work out for them. They don't have support. They've got people telling them, it's probably better if you go and work for somebody else. They don't feel confident. There's no self-belief. They dream about it, but they never get around to taking that step. But you weren't like that. You took that step. You did that. And so, yeah, there's going to be times where you got to do stuff. Maybe it's like posting on your social. Maybe it's sending an email. Maybe it's writing the blog. Maybe it's writing the letter, the report, the returning the phone call, like whatever it is, this thing that you're resisting doing. Maybe it's actually really, really cool that you even get to do it, because think about all the other people out there who really want to more than anything else in the world, but for some reason there's something getting in the way of them having that. I hope that is all kind of in a very roundabout way making sense. But anyway, it's what worked for me, and so I wanted to share it with them. And then, of course, I wanted to share it with you. So anyway, there's going to be times in the business where you have to do hard stuff, and you got to figure out, or stuff that's not hard but you just don't want to do, so you just got to figure out, like, okay, what's going to be the easiest way for me to do this. And I have found, just in my 30 years of experience as a woman in private practice, as a woman business owner, as a therapist, former psychologist, retired now, business coach, supervisor, I can draw upon all of that knowledge, all of those years of wisdom, and I can tell you, hands down, the thing that gets you out of the stuckness is connecting with your values. That's it. It's connecting with your values. And once you've got that, then you make your plan. And yeah, it's a lot of what is discussed in the one-to-one work with some of the women in Momentum. It's about values. And a lot of the time too, it's so interesting because we'll talk about it and they think they know what their values are, and then when we've done the work, it's like, nope. it's like we have a default of being conditioned or programmed to know what to say to the question, like, what do you really value in your business? And it's like we all know that we have to say helping people. um, but yeah, so when they realize that, oh, actually, sure, it's that, but maybe it's like other things as well, then, it's kind of like creates a domino effect. And then the next thing happens, the next thing happens, the next thing happens, the next thing unlocks, the next thing unlocks, the next thing unlocks. And then next thing you know, they're getting clients, or they're getting visibility, or the cash flow is improving, or the confidence is there now, or they're grounded now. And that being grounded unlocks something else. It's like all these beautiful, 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 beautiful doors that just keep opening and opening and opening, and none of them are closing, less the ones that they're choosing to no longer be available for. It's so good. It's so, 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 so good. I love it so much. I could tell you stories about what they're doing and, you know, all day long, because I speak to many of them each and every day. And it's just the best. It really is. But anyway, I wanted to share this with you today because I thought maybe it might be really, really helpful. So it's Friday when I'm recording it. I'll share this with you tomorrow, which will be Saturday. Um, if you want to work with me, then yeah, go and have a look at Momentum and see if it's the thing for you. And if it is, great, apply. And if it's not, okay, maybe not at the time, not at this moment. That's totally fine as well. Like, I'm never, ever going to sell you on anything. I only want to work with people who want to work with me because it's the right next step for them. But I'm here if you've got a question that will help you make that decision, of course. So, yeah, I'll put the link to it in the show notes like usual. But you can also just email me or, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or something like that if you've got a burning question about the program. We do start in 4 weeks, which is the 15th of July. It is 1-to-1, don't worry. But there's options there of all these extra things that you can avail yourself to. Should you wish to, you can dip in, dip out, totally up to you. And it is by invitation only. So, yeah, you have to go and pop yourself on a wait list, then fill out an application, and then we go from there. So that's how it works. And yeah, if you feel like you want to go and learn a little bit more about it, just click the link. You can read about it and, yeah, go from there if you like. But there's help there and you don't have to do it alone, right? Anyway, have a beautiful, 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 beautiful Saturday. Thank you so much for being part of my world. I appreciate you more than you know. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.